and some liberal. Today we're going to be talking about the obvious elephant in the room. Hunter Biden has pled guilty. This is the culmination of a 5-year investigation by the U.S. attorney, one David C. Weiss. 5 years of investigating Hunter Biden, and now he has been found guilty of tax fraud and firearms crimes. Now, it appears that Hunter Biden did not disclose his drug addiction when he basically got a firearms permit or whatever the case may be. So he pled guilty to that. There was no way to get out of that. They could show that he's been diagnosed as an addict before he received the permission to be, to own a firearm or whatever the case may be. And he did not pay over $100,000 in taxes for 2 years that he did not file. Now, at the time of his guilty plea, he had paid all of his taxes in full. Nevertheless, Hunter Biden has been found guilty, or better yet, he pled guilty. But I want to ask you folks, why are Republicans so unhappy with this conclusion to this investigation? Obviously, the laptop issue has not even come up. But we want to point out that David C. Weiss, that investigated Hunter Biden for the past 5 years, was appointed by President Trump in 2017. So understand that. He was not investigated by some liberal. He was investigated by a Trump appointee. And when Biden became president in 2021, Weiss asked to stay on as the investigator. Biden himself had the presidential ability to take Weiss off the case, to take this Trump appointee off the case of investigating his son. Biden kept the guy on. John Durham, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the name John Durham from the Durham Report. He is another that Biden had the ability to remove from that case and chose not to. So we're going to talk about both of those issues. Why are Republicans, folks on the conservative side of the aisle, unhappy with what has come out with Hunter Biden? 2 misdemeanors. He now has a criminal record, but nevertheless, he won't be doing any jail time. In the comments, Joanne says Hunter Biden was never elected. That is true. Always, what do I say? This program is and shall forever remain MAGA friendly. Liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So understand the box is open. You don't have to agree with the damn host or anything. I will give you plenty of time to state your point without any fear of being blocked, banned, or censored by yours truly. So we'll look in the comments and we'll go straight to the box. Anyone else would have the book thrown at them? People outside of the old political groups. Actually, that's not true. And they've done statistics to show that individuals who had an addiction at the time of obtaining a gun permit are rarely ever charged. The only time it comes up is if you commit a crime with that gun, and then they find out you obtained that gun illegally. They throw that in there with the rest of your charges. But that is a standalone charge based on the numbers, and this has been on a host of political pundit programs, including Fox. Less than 1% of folks that get charged with that or commit that crime get charged. So this is what Hunter Biden got charged with in terms of the firearm crime is something that most Americans do not get charged with. So in regards to the comment that anyone else would have had the book thrown at them, that's not true. Also, the same thing could apply to someone not filing taxes and then paying the money back. That also is not something that folks readily get charged with. Hell, yours truly, I didn't make that kind of money, but I've skipped a year in filing taxes when I lived overseas. And when I came back to the country, I'd done 2 or 3 years in a row, and they didn't throw me in jail. So, and I didn't make Hunter Biden's kind of money. I'm not going to play games and pretend like I did. But I made some good money. I had a business overseas, and they didn't throw me in jail. Didn't even threaten to do that. All right, going back to, we'll go to the box, and let's keep it moving with, oh, Ricky, you're so fine. You really blow.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, how
Ricky.
you? Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. So what do you think? People are pissed off that Hunter Biden received misdemeanors. I guess they want him thrown under the jail. What do you think?
You know what? I've seen it plenty of times. You take the deal. You take it. Instead of trying to fight it and end up going to face more prison time, take whatever deal they give you that's on the table.
Do you think he got a sweetheart deal though?
Yeah, he got a good deal. He got a good deal. You take the plea, like, you know what? And hopefully this will put an end to everybody saying, what about Hunter Biden laptop? Hopefully it'll put an end to all this mess and realize people realize that he would never was president of the United States. He never ran for president of the United States. And stop saying, well, what about Hunter Biden? And finally look at, okay, what about Trump? Is he gonna take any
Well,
type of
but
deal?
let me make it clear to you that's not going to happen because I can throw one phrase at you that was not tackled, and that is 10% to the big guy. So they believe that Hunter Biden, certainly being paid money from an energy company in Ukraine, even though Biden did not have the credentials, they were paying him like $50,000 or $60,000 a month, and he has no credentials on energy. While Biden was the liaison between the Ukraine, that has not been explained. So just want to point that out. This is not over with.
Exactly, it's not over with. But he took a deal that was sweeter than it's something I would have taken. I would like, you know what? I'm gonna take the misdemeanor. Cause you might face jail time, you might not. But I'm gonna take the misdemeanor instead of facing felonies.
Yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, do you believe what Hunter Biden received is a lighter sentence than say you or me would have received?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah,
I
and
seen people, for instance, I remember back in the early '90s when Jaja Jabor got prison time for failing to pay taxes. Look it up.
yeah.
I remember that. I remember when James Brown got prison time for failing to pay taxes.
Yeah, but they got prison time
Uh
for
huh.
failing to pay taxes. In this case, this is him failing to file his taxes and then paying the money and keeping catching up. So it's not like they came after him, he didn't have the money or they had to. I mean, he filed taxes a few years late, but he paid the money.
Hey, to be totally honest with you, I pay my taxes because I tell you what, I'm not gonna risk my freedom for nothing. And I would tell anybody, I don't care what I owe the IRS, I'm gonna do what I got to do to pay them. Cause I'm not going to
Mhm.
prison just because I don't want to pay the money. I live in this country, pay my taxes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I kind of wonder though. We're talking about the president's son. We're talking about federal crimes where the president could easily pardon him. What did people think was going to happen?
Well, it depends. It depends on. It could be maybe I would say probably after the 2024 election. They probably will wait after then, so they'll have to worry about Biden pardoning him. But anyway, I don't think you. I'm not. Hopefully, I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. I don't think you can pardon your family members.
Yeah, you
I don't.
can. You can
Oh, you
pardon
can.
yourself. I mean, Trump is making it
Oh
clear
yeah,
you
that's right.
might
That's right. He
actually.
pardoned himself. That's
Yeah,
true.
you can pardon yourself. So you can pardon family members.
Well, all I'm gonna say is, if I was Joe Biden, I'm running for president. I wouldn't even. I wouldn't. I was like, you know what, my son, you did the crime. Go do the time. I'm not gonna pardon you.
Well, wait a minute. If you're 80 years old, like President Biden is, and your son does something like this, nobody lost their life, no child sexual innocence were taken, anything like that. We're talking strictly financial crimes in this case, or obtaining a firearm without disclosing that you're a drug addict, but you didn't use the gun to commit any crimes with. As an 80-year-old man, you would let your child go to jail for what would probably be the rest of your life. You would never see your child free again. You would actually do that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he took that deal.
No,
That's
what I'm
what.
saying, let's say the deal was not on the table and he was facing something that would put him in jail for the rest of his life based on these crimes, and you had the ability to pardon your son. You would let him go up the river for this?
I probably. I don't, that's a hard one
It
because we
ain't no
teach our.
hard one. It's
Because
not
like I
hard
tell,
at all. It's
let
your
me let me
son.
explain. Like I tell my daughter, she's a nurse. She's a real estate agent. Like I tell her, Maya, if you do something wrong, and I said you do, and I've been teaching her, you do something wrong, and I know you did wrong. I said expect to get penalized for it. Expect society to teach you a lesson. I said, cause you can never say that I didn't teach you any better. That I did not give you the proper guidance that you needed.
I don't disagree with the phrase "do the crime, do the time," but I'm 80 years old. I don't want my son to go down for. I'll never see my son free again. I mean, he might get out in 5, 10 years, but I'll be dead by then. So essentially, for me, he's going to be locked up for the rest of my life. I don't think I could let that happen unless he really committed a heinous crime. In this case, we're talking a financial crime, and he didn't even profit from it. He did not pay taxes for a couple years, and then he came later and actually gave them the money plus interest. He got a firearm without disclosing that he had an addiction problem, but he didn't do anything criminal with the firearm. The crime was in him just actually obtaining it. I'm not going to let my son or my daughter go down for the rest of my life for something that is that minute if I can pardon it. You would let your child go down for that?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. All right. And I
No, I
don't think
wouldn't.
anybody
But
would. For my
I will tell you, I have seen officers arrest their own relative for selling illegal products. I have
So
seen
they
that.
have to though, but they
You have
have
to.
to.
You have to.
Biden can pardon. Biden pardon his son, and it's totally legal. The cop actually has to do that. And if the cop doesn't do that, the cop can get in trouble.
Exactly,
Biden
like you
can
have to. But that's what I'm
yeah, with
saying.
the
Like,
stroke of a pen.
even if he doesn't pardon him, he can make a phone call to a governor.
Yeah. What about Trump? If Don Jr. or Ivanka was under the same scenario, do you think Trump would pardon his kid, or would he say you did the crime, you do the time?
Oh, he would pardon him just like that, without a doubt. He was just like, bam, I got you.
All right, fair enough. And I think most of us would, and I think most of our parents, under this circumstance, like I said, we all want folks to abide by the law. But we're not talking about taking somebody's life or harming a kid. We're talking about not paying taxes for a couple years and then catching up and paying it with interest. I just don't see anybody letting their child go down for this if they could
and
pardon them out of it.
and that's where it goes to. He got a sweetheart of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Actually, in my opinion, the fact that the son of a president even has a criminal record for this, to me, I think he actually got the worst end of the stick. I think most Americans would not even be charged with this stuff. Like I said, I skipped a couple years not paying taxes. I didn't make his kind of money. I didn't have his kind of enemies. When I came back to the country, I caught up and they never even threatened to throw me in jail for that. And I did similar to what he did. I didn't pay taxes for a few years while I was out of the United States. I wasn't living in the country. When I came back, I caught up and that was it.
Did you call him? Did you call them?
No, I
Oh,
didn't
you.
call them and they didn't call me. I didn't call them and they didn't call me, but they know where I'm at. I mean, because my passport tells you, customs tells you, where you last went. It wasn't like I was hard to find. I just didn't make much money. I maybe a little less than six figures. I mean, I wasn't a big target, but Biden paid the money back plus interest before he was ever even convicted of this. So I don't see where people are thinking he should have been thrown in prison for it.
I mean, you're right. He's not out of the woods yet. He's not. Because the judge still has to sentence him. So he's still not out of the woods.
No, he's not, but it looks like he's going to get him. He's going to end up. No, I mean, I believe he's going to end up with misdemeanors, and it's not going to include any jail time. He's going to.
Yeah,
Well,
even
he
if he
lost
did,
his gun rights.
right. Even if they did, they probably give him maybe 6 months to a year. Then it'd be something like Martha Stewart went to. Something like that.
Yeah. And I
It'd be something
even
like
think in Martha Stewart's case, I even think in that case, I don't know. I mean, I understand what insider trading is like, but sometimes I think folks are trying to make an example as opposed to, just regular justice. And I think in this case, we want to make an example out of Hunter Biden because we don't like his dad. If this happened to, say, the Obama children or Bush's daughters, nobody would be on this. We want this because we want Biden.
But since you brought up Bush's children, remember when Bush's daughter was did something with pharmaceuticals? Something.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
it? 2003 or four? Something like that?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, but let's just be honest. There is a long history of wealthy folks getting away with crimes and not being punished. And when you look at what Hunter Biden has been convicted of, These are fairly minor crimes. I mean, no one was injured in these crimes. That's what I'm talking about. One case, he held on to some tax money and paid it back with interest. In the other case, he has a firearm, but no one has been harmed with the weapon. He just
But they're
lied
looking at the
on the
fact that
application.
they're looking at the fact that he was still a felony in possession of a firearm that he should not have. They should not
Is he a
have.
felon?
If you, yeah, I'm quite. If I could, if I'm not, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive.
I don't think he's a. I don't know. He's not a felon because they didn't charge him with felon in possession. Now that comes with time. He's not a felon. I'm not aware of him being a felon.
Yeah, I could be mistaken, but I know he had a
Yeah.
firearm he shouldn't have. So
Yeah,
I'm not.
he lied on
Yeah.
his he lied on his firearm application and suggested that he didn't have a he didn't disclose that he has an addiction problem. They don't want you having a gun if your ass is
Oh
doing
yeah, now you're
crack
right.
and
Now
shit.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right. I'm
but
wrong.
if
You're
he
right.
was a felon in possession typically comes with mandatory prison time. He wasn't that.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. You're right. You're right.
Okay. All right, fair enough, Ricky. Appreciate you coming in. I got to move it on, though, man.
Hey, I need
So
to
at the
move. I
end of
need to
the
clear something up, though. I need to clear something up with you. The
sure,
last time I was on about a month ago, and I told you I love you like a brother. I meant like a brother. You know what I mean? Like a relative, like a relative. That's what I meant.
okay.
That's what I mean, like a relative.
I know that. I, I, I didn't misinterpret you. I appreciate you
I,
clearing it up,
I
but
don't
I
know. I
didn't
think some people
misinterpret you.
probably did misinterpret what I was saying. All
It's all right, man. Don't worry about it. Come on back
right, you have a
anytime.
great day. Stay
You
blessed.
too. You too. All right. Looking in the comments, has an addiction problem lying. I wonder how many people do the same thing on gun paperwork. Feek, and that's one of the issues is that statistically they've been able to show folks who are trying to suggest that Hunter Biden did not get some great deal. They've been able to show that it is very rare for someone to be charged with lying on a gun application as a standalone crime. Now, if you go out and rob a bank and you do it with a gun you obtained legally and they can find out you lied on the application, it typically comes up. But lying on the application when you've done nothing else with the gun is something I think they said like 1%. 1% of the folks actually receive some type of a charge for that. So in the idea that Hunter Biden received a sweetheart deal, I tend to think it's the opposite because he got charged with a crime that most people do not even get charged with. Also, the same thing with the tax issue. He held on to he basically didn't pay taxes for a couple years and showed up, paid the money with interest before he was convicted of a crime. I don't think most Americans would get charged with that. And I keep using myself as an example because I did the exact same thing. And they didn't even threaten to charge me with that. I didn't receive any visit from IRS agents and shit like that. And also in the comments, I want to point out some of you folks brought up Wesley Snipes who did time. Wesley Snipes deliberately avoided paying taxes. I think he put down that he was a sovereign citizen or some shit and challenged the notion that he even has to pay taxes at all. So he was fighting with the system. And when it was time to pay the money, he didn't have it to pay. So he ended up trying to pay it in pieces. That didn't happen in Hunter Biden's case. He just did not talk to the IRS for a couple of years. And when he showed up, he had all the damn money. It's a difference. Going back to the box, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 10,000 likes. 600 plus of you in here. You could be any damn where you want to be on this app. It's always an honor to have you here. So your boy some love. Tap the screen. Get me up to 10,000 likes. We'll keep it moving, though. God's favorite of the name. Good.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. So what do you think? You think Biden got off easy?
I think it's like how it's always been. If you got money, you get the best lawyer you can buy. It's not like Hunter Biden was up there talking for himself.
True.
He had a lawyer. He didn't have a public defender like some people would have. His lawyer, he had a lawyer that maybe the best lawyer that money could buy that put that deal over the top for him. That
But
happens all the
but as
time.
I pointed out, and you're looking at public defender material right here. If I had been in that situation, I would have needed a public defender probably. But I'm telling you, I owned a business overseas in Australia in a town called Campbelltown. I lived in New South Wales for 5 years. I did not pay taxes for a few years. And as an American citizen, when you are abroad, you're still supposed to pay taxes even if you're earning it in foreign countries. That's why Tina Turner, the late Tina Turner, gave up her citizenship because she stated, I'm tired of paying taxes and I don't live in America anymore. Nevertheless, when I
Mhm.
came back to America, I paid 2 or 3 years of taxes at once, and I didn't face any jail time. I did exactly what he did. I had to pay back taxes plus interest, and they didn't do anything to me. So I'm trying to figure out, how did he get convicted or charged with this to begin with?
Well, it's something with what you said earlier. You said you didn't have no intent on hiding it or not paying it. But once they made you aware of it, you handled it accordingly. And
Right.
that's when you handle things like that accordingly, then it tends to give you a break. Your lawyer would recommend that to you. I don't think Wesley Snipes had a lawyer that says, listen, you need to handle this. Some people try to get away with it. Some people are willing to go to jail instead of paying the IRS. Hey,
That
well,
ain't gonna
just
go well at
give
all.
me the jail time,
That ain't
and
gonna
be
go
done
well
with
at
it.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So
think,
what about obtaining a firearm and not disclosing that you have an addiction problem? You think you should be thrown in prison for that?
um, okay, what state was it? I don't even know the law regarding that,
I
in
don't
which
think it. Yeah, I don't think it matters
that's a
where you're
federal law.
located.
That's a
Yeah,
federal
I
law.
mean, yeah. You can't have a gun if you got a drug addiction problem in any state.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's something new to me because I thought they didn't care. They didn't ask you for if you had a drug addiction or whatever.
Well, I don't think, and that's where we pointed out, and I've pointed out, is that most folks do not get charged with this crime because, to some degree, even though they say they do, you are right, they really don't care. I mean, you know how many folks that's been diagnosed with mental illness and shit like that can still get a firearm? They really don't care.
So
But in
yeah,
this case, which is why I believe they actually made an example out of Hunter Biden.
well, could that law go against you? Like if you smoke a joint, if you smoke weed?
I don't. I think you have to have a diagnosed
Okay, okay,
addiction problem. But in Hunter Biden's case, it's not going to help that you're on video smoking crack on a laptop. I mean, so
yeah,
we do treat marijuana now a little bit different than we do crack. And Hunter Biden was doing the hard shit, so
yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
you're going to be able to escape that.
Well, like I said, I just think that he had a good lawyer, lawyers that most of the average person can't afford.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a big difference. And I think what people on the right need to look at, hey, this guy had a lawyer.
Well,
It's
let
not
me
like,
present it to you. Let me present it to you this way, like I did with my last caller. If this was your child and the feds were not willing to take the plea deal, let's say even with a good lawyer, the feds were demanding a minimum of, let's say, 4 or 5 years of prison time. And as commander in chief, you could pardon your child. You knew he was guilty of what they're charging him with. He didn't pay his taxes on time, and he obtained a firearm without, he obtained a firearm by lying on the damn application. But you knew he was facing a few years in prison, but you could pardon him. Would you pardon him?
no. And I'll tell you why. First of all, being the president, I wouldn't want to have that on me. And if it's a few years and it's not like, um, if it's a few years and he probably get out in half of those years,
Not in the
got
feds.
it? And he's a young man.
You don't get out. Yeah, you do like 85% of your time in the feds. You don't get
Yeah,
out early
yeah,
like that.
okay. Well, I would let him do his time. I let him do his time. And he's a fairly young man, so you never know. His case might get overturned.
Ain't he like 50 something? He ain't that young. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking
But
about you're talking about a child with an addiction problem. and you're going to put him in prison for another few years. You think that's going to help out his addiction problem at all?
I wouldn't pardon him because it wouldn't look right. It wouldn't look right, and he has to do his time.
Right.
And
So let me ask you, before I gotta move it on. Before I do, I want to ask you the same thing I asked my last caller. If this was under Trump, where one of his children was facing the same music, do you think he would pardon his child?
sure, he pardoned people that isn't related to him.
They all do that though. That's not unique to Trump. But you think
Well,
he
now I'm
pardoned
talking
too?
about he pardoned his best friends and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So of course he
yeah.
would pardon his child. But thanks a lot,
You
man.
you don't believe he'd be you did the crime, you do the time. You think he'd
No,
actually let him out?
no, only person. No, he'll do it. He'll do it in
All
a
right,
heartbeat.
God's favorite.
All
All
right.
right, man. Appreciate you coming in. In the looking at the comments, headlines are about nothing other than a homemade sub right now. Oh wow, that's yeah. I thought about talking about that. That's a really depressing story. I mean, my opinion is that those folks are no longer with us now. They're still counting down to how long the oxygen is going to last and things like that. Seawater, salt water does not freeze at 32 degrees like fresh water does. So it can actually get colder and still be frozen. These guys are like thousands of leagues, as they say, thousands of feet below the sea. Complete darkness. You're talking sub-freezing temperatures. No food, no restroom, no water. I don't think they're around anymore. I do not think they're even with us at this point. Now, they talked about they've heard banging sounds, knocking sounds, but in reality, there's a hell of a lot of noises in the sea. There's metal shit. I mean, they're near the Titanic, for instance. You don't think there's flaps and shit flipping around, just in the waves from even that wreckage. Those banging sounds could be anything. But yeah, you asked me, those guys were probably deceased as much as 24 hours ago. I don't think they're even alive now. But you wanna stay with hope as long as you can. So I totally understand pouring the resources and things like that. Because even if they are no longer with us, you still want to give closure to their family and retrieve their remains to find out what went wrong. I'm not a nautical engineer by any stretch of the damn imagination. I would not even take a chance going that deep. But in my opinion, the hull cracked. The hull of that thing probably cracked under the pressure, and that's pretty much an instantaneous death. Either that or they got caught under, an overhang, because essentially a mountain underwater. You get stuck on something, because you've had people who have taken trips in the past, we're talking about, we got stuck, and it's hard. With the pressure, it's hard to get that thing to come up, so it's a sad story. But the idea that they paid $250,000 each to go down there into that shit, wow. Literally paid $250,000 to do something that took their lives. All right, we're going to continue, and that's a sad story. I don't think they're with us anymore. Looking in the comments, more people have been to space than been that deep. Yeah, by Donnie, you're right. It's a dangerous environment down there. It is completely black. Blacker than my ass sitting in the sun for 3 hours. It is black down there. Takesha Blue, good afternoon. Back to the program. So what do you think? You think Hunter Biden got off easy?
I don't. I really don't.
I agree.
I said,
I feel the same way. In fact, I believe now I want to point this out to folks in the audience, but I think you and I are going to be on the same page with this. 2017, President Trump appointed David C. Weiss as the U.S. attorney. That is the attorney that's been investigating Hunter Biden for the last 5 years. When President Biden became president, Weiss asked if he could stay on the case, literally investigating his damn son, and Biden let him stay on the case. So what does that say about President Biden, that he allowed this guy to stay on that was investigating his kid?
it says that he don't think nobody's above the law, whether it's his son or not. That's what it says.
What about Trump? If Trump becomes president, you think he would leave Jack Smith and Merrick Garland? You think he would let them continue?
Baby, when they said he the one, they might as well pack their bags and go on out their door. Cause he ain't finna let them even listen. He'll send them a letter and say ain't no light on but the Motel 6. Get out of here.
I don't think we disagree on this one at all. I do believe
He
if
ain't
Trump,
he ain't
yeah,
leaving no light on for Jack Smith nor Mary Garland to stay where they at. Believe me, they might as well pack their stuff up the day that they say you the one. They might well say, well, let's haul ass. Cause that's what they gonna have to do.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
let me say this. Let me say this.
I tend to agree with that. I don't think there's any way Merrick Garland and Jack Smith keep their jobs if Trump gets reelected.
No, cause Trump don't want nobody that go against Trump, whether he in the wrong or not. And he never think he's in the wrong. That's a sign of a narcissist who thinks that everybody is wrong but them. But we ain't gonna even get on that. But I know some people who were offered the same deal that Hunter Biden got. It ain't got nothing to do with no good attorney. It's you pleading that you're guilty. You admitted what you did. And sometimes they will make a plea deal with you if you're honest. But if he had a win in that line, I doubt if he would have got a plea deal.
Yeah. To me, the fact that they even convicted the president's son over this stuff, to me, right there alone, gave him, he now has a criminal record. I think they made an example out of him. Now, I know a lot of my beloved MAGA want the guy to be put under the prison for it, but I think they went after him pretty hard.
Listen to me. They was tired of hearing about that laptop with nothing on it. They was tired of people saying they was biased. They was tired of people saying that they being weaponized by Joe Biden. So they had to do something to Hunter to try to at least get these people to focus on what's really going on, which is these documents that's all over the world.
You think it
So
worked?
no, because they still
No.
want more. Now they saying the man got a sweet deal. How sweet was the deal? The deal wasn't sweet. It's about as unnecessary. Let me tell you something. It holds no weight. It's just like a big fat woman sitting on a table. If she 1,000 pounds and the table 10, it holds no weight. So I mean, there was no need for them to even get his boy this on his record.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
but I'm gonna ask you what I've been asking the other callers. If your son went out for this, let's say he was facing a few years of incarceration, would you pardon him?
I'm gonna tell you what, if I was Joe Biden and Hunter was my son, I know he had a drug addiction, I would call the governor of wherever he was convicted and ask him not to put him in prison, but to put him in a drug facility for those years he got to serve so he can
Bro,
get some help.
he didn't, wait a minute. He didn't get convicted for a state crime. He got convicted for a federal crime. So you don't call the governors. You were in charge of this.
I
I mean,
know,
that's why
I
he can
didn't think
pardon him.
about that. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's a
think
federal
about that.
crime.
I would probably pardon him and I would reprimand him to a drug rehab. It's a way that I would try to get him into a drug rehab system. No, I'm not gonna let my child go to jail for that petty stuff you trying to charge him with, because who don't cheat on their taxes? Who don't lie on their application? Think about the people that's in the chat that's talking about it. Y'all done lied on y'all job application, but y'all still want that job. Who hasn't lied
Yeah,
to get what they wanted? You lie to women every day to get a woman. You lie to a man to get a man. You lie on your job application
yeah,
to get a job. You go in there and fake on your credit card application to get a credit card. You know you ain't making that much money, but how can they tell? Because you want that credit card. So, I mean, no pun. Don't get that man a felony on his record for these petty charges. But I can say this. I'm glad he pleaded guilty. I have no problem with him being, don't give him all those years, but I have no problem with him paying for what he did, because guess what? Hunter Biden is not President Hunter Biden. He's just
yeah.
a citizen. It ain't,
By the
it ain't,
way, speaking of lying on the financials, isn't that exactly what they're going after Trump for in New York?
no, they're going after him for using money that was allocated for something else to pay
No,
off
no,
a,
no. No, I'm talking about the civil case where they're saying he was evaluating and devaluating his properties to pay less taxes. They're
do
going
you,
after him for tax crimes too.
okay, do you think I care anything about Alvin Bragg case? I didn't care nothing
No,
about it when it came up.
I'm just saying that folks are pointing out that Hunter Biden did not do right by the IRS. I'm saying that they're going after Trump for something very similar, just worth a hell of a lot more money.
Listen. Well, if they can get Hunter, then go get Trump. That's all
But
I'm
what
saying.
happens if in the Trump case they start talking about jail time where Hunter Biden just got a misdemeanor? Do you think there's two tiers of justice?
I don't, cause listen to me. They need not even worry about what Trump paid that woman. I don't care nothing about that case. He can do whatever he want to do. My concern is these documents. That's
Yeah.
my concern. I don't care nothing about him paying no Stormy Daniels out of no campaign fund money. Who cares? My concern are where our documents at and who got them. I could care less about him tricking the system with his taxes and defunding his business and stuff. Who cares? Not me.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Appreciate you coming in, Keisha.
All
Catch
right.
you later. All
Bye.
right. Looking in, Trump will go down for the documents, says Joanne. You know, unless he can delay shit until he's reelected and then start taking control of the investigation from the back, yeah, I think he'll go down for it. I think there's enough there to convince the average citizen that he's committed some crimes. I do believe that just because of his mouth. Some of the things he said, all of this, I can declassify documents by thinking about it. And all of that stuff's not going to work well with him. And his interview with Brett Baer was not good either. I understand a lot of my beloved MAGA love the rallies that Trump have, but listen, some of that shit equates to self-snitching. Some of that stuff, you gotta imagine his lawyers are just sitting back watching that like, damn, I cannot believe he just said that. But his supporters, MAGA, you guys love for him to talk. I don't think it's doing them any good. I really don't. And, also we're talking about criticizing judges, talking about their families and their wives and shit. His attorney's gotta be looking at that like, why? But it is what it is. Looking in the comments, Sean says Trump will never get elected again. We'll see. We'll see. Civil isn't jail time. That is true. I feel like she's talking about me. Auntie, you need to mind your business. Marie, friend of the program. Let me just keep it moving. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 25,000. I appreciate the participation. I don't know if there's something going on, but my audience is a bit smaller than it normally is. We normally have maybe 2 to 3 times as many people. It's been fluctuating, so we'll see what happens. No, we won't see. He doesn't have the support to get the votes he needs. Sean, you don't necessarily know that until we get closer to the election. We don't know what the economy will be like, next year this time. We don't know if there's going to be the Russia-Ukrainian involvement, if that's going to be worse or if it's going to be over. We don't know if China's going to be encroaching on Taiwan. You don't know a year from now what may happen. And of course, these men are old as hell. Biden is 80 years old. He'll be almost 82 when the election happens. What if he's having health problems? Some would suggest he's having health problems now, but what if he's really having health problems? So there are factors that could be taken in consideration. And make no mistake about it, Biden is under investigation too. So we don't know what may come out. So you can't really write off any candidate. Right now, Trump 2024 does have its challenges. It is an uphill battle, according to most political analysts, but you don't know what may come out between now and then. Remember, at this point in time, in 2015, Hillary Clinton was a shoo-in. Look what happened. Going back to the box, Biden. Good afternoon. Did it take it? Hang on a second. I don't know what I just did here. Biden, we'll try it one more time. Okay. Here you go.
What's going
He
on, man?
ain't, shut up. Good afternoon, Biden. So we're talking about Hunter Biden. Was it a sweetheart deal?
Absolutely not. Speaking
Why
from
do
the
you think?
perspective, speaking from the perspective of someone who was a convicted felon, I've now received a gubernatorial pardon because I have some connections. When you're charged with a felony, they always drop charges. My worst case, I was charged with 15 felonies. I got convicted of 2 of them.
Did anybody die?
Nah, they were all drug charges. They were all drug
Oh,
charges.
shit. What did that? How much time did they throw? How much time were they talking about? Not how much time did they give you? How much time were you facing?
Well, for the worst charge, uh, 5 to 15.
15 felonies, damn. And you got a gubernatorial pardon on all of that shit?
Well, I only got convicted of 2 of them. I
Who
paid
is your what state are you
I
in?
paid an attorney $30,000.
What liberal state are you in?
I'm not. I'm in Ohio.
Wow, really? Holy shit. All right, that's some good lawyer. Some good lawyering you got. So you had a 15 reduced to 2, and then you had the governor help carry you the way over those 2.
Well, it was actually 5 when he pardoned me because I had other convictions too. But yeah,
Damn, you sound like a Fox News segment. If you were in a liberal state and you were black, you'd be on Fox News. Wow.
if I was in a liberal state and I was black, I would have probably done 15 years. And
Mm,
don't think I don't know that.
mm. I'm with you
I
when you're
know
right.
I completely understand how lucky I am to have had the money to pay for an attorney, and that I'm also very lucky that I'm white. I'm not in any sort of denial about that.
So you do agree that there is a two-tier justice system, and some folks get advantages naturally that others do not qualify for.
Oh, absolutely. If you got enough money to pay the right attorney, you can get out of almost anything.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. And I don't know how we could possibly solve that because the people who are in power, in control of this country, designed it that way and probably would fight tooth and nail to have that, to prevent that from being changed.
And do I think that Biden should pardon him? Yeah, because I would pardon my son.
I'm surprised to have so many folks suggesting that they would let their son spend time in prison for this. I would pardon my child, mom, kid, brother, neighbor in a heartbeat for something like this. No one was injured in this. There are no, this is, when you talk about victimless crimes, this is a crime that has no victims at all. Him not paying taxes for 2 years and coming forth with the money with interest and lying on an application to get a gun permit when he didn't use the gun to harm anybody. This is completely victimless. I would certainly pardon him.
Right. I
So,
mean, why wouldn't you pardon your kid? I could understand not pardoning him if he committed a violent act, but I mean, these are these are basically jokes of crimes. And I actually find it to be quite hilarious that this is the best a 5-year investigation could produce on Hunter.
So let me ask you this, and that is true. 5 years with a Trump appointee, and they could only come up with this. That's saying a hell of a lot. Brown's backer in the comments, though. When we look at what Trump is being accused of, Brown's backer asked an interesting question: who are Trump's victims? Trump is being charged with crimes. Do you see Trump? Do you see any victims that may have suffered because of what Trump is being charged with?
Not directly, but the American people could suffer massively if he actually did share secrets.
Well, I would say right off the bat, if he shared secrets, we need to know which secrets are shared because there could be some dead spies out in the field, or maybe some. Let's say, for instance, you had some double agents that were of Russian ancestry, but they were cooperating with the United States. If Trump revealed who they are, Russia's going to handle them right off the bat. So there
Right.
could be some victims. We need to know what information was revealed.
And I think that'll all come out.
Yeah. And in the comments, Love Tuski, you're right. They won't make that public. If there were Russian assets working on our behalf, and something that Trump released ended up causing them to be incarcerated or executed, no, they're not going to tell us about that. So it is what it is. But yeah, I do agree that there could definitely be some victims from what Trump is being charged with. We just won't know because it's for the most part a confidential case. But in this case of this pardon here, do you think that Hunter Biden should have gotten any type of prison time for this?
Hell no.
So why do you think so many Republicans?
I don't think he should have even got put in handcuffs for this. let alone get booked in a jail or a booking photo taken. I think these charges are a joke.
So you think they made an example of him?
I do.
Yeah. I'm in the same camp. Um, like I said, I believe any wealthy child, as you pointed out, they could hire an attorney. If they didn't have the Biden name on them and they didn't have the enemies that Biden has, let's say it was Elon Musk's kid, or Zuckerberg had a child and this happened, I don't think they would have faced any charges at all. I think they would have gave us a certain amount of money and this would have went away. I think the only reason that Biden's kid, Hunter Biden, ended up suffering criminally for this is because of his father. Because his father has enemies out there, and they're wanting to show that, listen, he's not getting away with anything.
If you want the truth, I think it has more to do with the fact that the Republican led FBI and the Republican appointed special prosecutor couldn't investigate Hunter for 5 years and not charge him with nothing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Trump's prosecution being political? I think what they did to Hunter was 100% political.
So if that's the case, why do you think Biden, who had the ability to take the special prosecutor off of the case, talking about what is his name? I actually wrote it down. David Weiss, David Weiss, as of 2017, was appointed by Trump. He's a U.S. attorney that's been investigating Hunter Biden all of this time. When President Biden became the commander in chief, he could have removed him off of this case. Why do you think Biden left him on the case?
Because despite what MAGA would like to believe, Joe Biden abides by the law and believes no one is above it.
All right, fair enough. I got to move it on, Biden. Appreciate it. I saw you holding
I
it. Thanks
wanted
a
to
lot,
tell you
man.
one more thing real quick, though. That hat
Sure.
behind you, that MAGA hat, MAGA got a new meaning. It means
Which
make
is?
attorneys. It means make attorneys get attorneys now.
I don't know if that's happening anymore, other than with Rudolph Giuliani and Sidney Powell, because Trump seems to have a hell of a lot of his attorneys resigning. So I don't know if that happens anymore. It also happened with Michael Cohen, but I don't know in modern times. I think most attorneys now are savvy enough to either give Trump a wide berth, or if they allow him to hire them, they know what they're getting into. So I don't think the make attorneys get attorneys is going to apply in modern times.
Oh,
But there
okay,
was a
well,
time for it. There was a time for that.
all right, man. Have a good day. I got to go to work.
All right, appreciate you coming in. All right, looking box, because they get paid to dump him or threaten his family. Heather Legacy, who are you speaking of? I don't get that one. The shooter who killed a man in Wisconsin but lived in Illinois got his AR legally. You're talking about Cal Rittenhouse, I believe you're talking about. Is that who you're talking about? Went to the Kenosha, Wisconsin protest and ended up taking someone's life in self-defense. Is just want to make sure that's who you're talking about. If you become his lawyer, get your money up front. Thunder Dan, that is 100% true. If you become an attorney for President Trump, you need to not only get a retainer, but estimate how much that whole damn case is going to cost and get your money up front. Because if you lose, he certainly ain't going to pay you. And he's going to try to destroy your reputation as an attorney. So it's just something you got to really think about as an attorney defending President Trump. Because not only that, with the money and things like that, but as an attorney, you want to win a case. So you want to be able to control your client, tell your client, confer with me before you release any statements. And Trump's not going to follow any of that. So he makes winning just that more challenging because you got a client that won't shut the hell up. So yeah, I would assume the phrase he used, my last caller, make attorneys get attorneys. I don't think that applies anymore because most attorneys dealing with Trump know what they're dealing with going in. You're going to be dealing with a client that's going to fly off the hook. So if you take that job, you have to take it knowing that. There's a string of attorneys at this point that have been disgruntled because Trump wouldn't shut up. So any attorney that lets Trump hire them in 2023, you know he's going to do that already. Looking in the comments, what damage did Hillary's foreign collected emails cost? We don't know what's in the emails. It's very similar to the Trump case. When you're talking about confidential information, even the damage that confidential information does is confidential. So let's say, for instance, Hillary emails contained, how the F-22's engine was made, allowing the enemy to patent or to copy the engine of an F-22. We know China has copied a lot of our engineering. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that information. So her emails could have caused a lot of damage. They're not going to tell you what it is because the damage is confidential. Just like with Trump. That if he took documents that the Pentagon created to show how we would perform a strike on Iran, and let's say somebody in Iran has gotten in contact with those documents so that they know how to prepare against that defense, we don't know if they're using that strategy to help out Russia in the Russian-Ukrainian incident, and it's resulting in people dying. They're not going to tell you any of that stuff. But that's kind of how it works, is that they want to know how our planes, tanks, and defenses work. We want to know how theirs work, so that it ultimately will lead to us having victories and the same for them, which means people are getting killed, but they're not going to release any information of how that's coming out. So it could have gotten people killed. It has, I can't pronounce the name there. DeCoso says, yeah, all would be classified information. Yeah, it would be classified information. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get your boy up to 30,000 likes. I don't know if TikTok's playing a game. We should normally have about 3 times as many people in here, but I do appreciate you folks that are rolling with your boy. We'll keep it moving, though, with Brandon in exile. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Brandon in exile. Hunter is what we're talking about today. Folks, it's always about Trump. We're talking about Hunter Biden today. What do you think? Hunter Biden got off easy?
I think he definitely got off easy, for sure.
What do you think would have been a worthy... You got a loud-ass background. I can barely hear you.
Yeah, I do. I'm in a piece of equipment. I didn't expect to get on that quick, if I'm honest.
Okay. Well, real quick, what do you think would have been a worthy punishment or sentence for Hunter Biden?
He should be charged with everything that he did and have to go to prison like that rapper guy did. And I also think that he should be charged with some of the shit on his laptop.
Well, with a Trump, which would lead to the obvious question. Trump put Weiss over the case of investigating Hunter Biden in 2017. Here it is 5 years later, meaning that 3 of the years Weiss was investigating Hunter Biden, Trump was president. Why do you think they've produced so little if there's allegedly so much on the laptop?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people in the agencies that are working on the team Biden. You know what I mean? They're helping.
But 3 of the years that Hunter Biden was being investigated, Biden was not even president. You're saying that they were on Team Biden while Trump was president?
No, because Team Biden is also Team Hillary, Team Obama, Team Bush, Team all of them. They're the same team.
So you believe that Trump appointed somebody that was on Team Biden, Team Hillary, and all this stuff?
I think he may have appointed a couple of them just because he had no, you know what I mean? He was not a politician, not well versed in who's part of the bigger group and not. And he's in a swamp surrounded by alligators, you know what I mean? He's going to pick a couple alligators from time to time.
Does that not make him come across as incompetent then? You said he wasn't a typical politician. He's appointing people that are against his better interests. Doesn't that make him come across as incompetent?
I think it makes him come across as imperfect, sure.
Well, what's the difference between imperfect and incompetent?
Well, imperfect is a human that messes up sometimes. Incompetent is, I guess there's not much of a difference. I mean, really. But incompetence would be more willful, I guess. I don't know.
Well, if you're running a campaign suggesting you're going to surround yourself with the best and brightest and drain the swamp, and then here we are 5 years later suggesting he actually picked a bunch of alligators and people that were on Team Biden and Team Hillary, do we hold him accountable for not meeting his promise of surrounding himself with the best and brightest and draining the swamp?
You can. I personally don't, because I look at it like you go into it, you're kind of blind. You got people on your team that aren't really on your team, and they really act like they're on your team until it gets to the bare bones, and then you find out they're not. You got to figure out who the swamp is first, and that I think that's what the first 4 years for most of us was all about.
So if you think the first 4 years is finding out who's on the swamp, then you're basically saying the only way he could accomplish his goals is to get 2 terms.
No, I think we got half. I mean, yeah, we were well on our way. We were everything was pretty good, and then he lost the election, and things are awesome now, super awesome now.
So I have to ask this question because a lot when I talk to MAGA, when I talk to folks on the right, the complaints that are being alleged that the system is being weaponized, politicized, elections are being rigged. It sounds as if we're having the same conversation we had back in 2015. So we do have to ask the question, if we knew all of these problems existed in 2015 and we hired Trump suggesting he was going to fix all of this stuff, what did we really gain out of a man that promised to correct this stuff? We're having the same conversations.
Because now we've seen it. We've seen it now. We weren't seeing it before. We weren't.
Then what were you talking about? He was saying the election was rigged in 2015. What do you mean he didn't see it? He was saying it was rigged then.
Right, but a lot of us didn't pay attention to that. I didn't pay attention to that. Honestly.
Then why did you vote for him?
Why did I vote for him? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't even like him at first. I was a Bush Republican, and I got watching him and basically listening to the left cry about him all the time. I was like, what is it with this guy? So I started watching him, and I actually started to like him the more that I listened to him. A lot of people don't listen to him. They just automatically don't like him, and they write him off, and they just don't pay attention to what he says. And that's your first mistake. Like a lot of us, I think it's funny when we get accused of being brainwashed or in a cult, because a lot of us watch the same exact things y'all do. Like we watch CNN, we watch CBS, ABC, all the major networks. We read those publications online and all the same stuff you guys read, but we just also read the other stuff too. And then we look at the scenario and we make up our own minds. And I don't understand how anyone could assume that we're brainwashed or cult followers when nobody's preaching to us.
Let me tell you, I kind of understand where it's coming from. I'm not suggesting anybody is in a cult, but I can tell you, I generally can see both sides of an issue. I think it comes from, you got a lot of folks on your side of the aisle that believe Trump's going to, stave off New World Order, or Trump is going to drain the swamp, as we talk about. He's going to get rid of all of the corruption in politics. He's going to give us term limits and some of these things without the realization that you need some of these swamp creatures to accomplish your goal. So at the end of the day, people are painting Trump as if he's some type of Superman that's going to come into Washington and get all of this stuff done and make the senators and Congress people vote against their own best interest. If I'm a Congress guy like Ted Cruz or Mitch McConnell as a senator, or even AOC, who could probably be in Congress for the rest of her life, I'm not going to vote for term limits. So if you are a president promising the people that you're going to get them term, no, you're not, because you got to get us to give it to you. So I think that's where the cult claims come, where you got people painting Trump as Superman with all these muscles, and he's going to come in and do all of this stuff. Yeah. In a republic, but one man can't do all. The point I'm trying to make is Trump was a successful businessman. In a business, you can fire the whole damn board if they're not on with the program. In Washington, you need senators, governors, Congress to make your plans work. One man cannot do it all in Washington. And the notion that Trump supporters believe this one guy could do all of this stuff is where you're getting the cult claims from.
Okay, now let me show you how your example, how it would apply with us as MAGA, right? So you say he's promising term limits and they're not going to vote for term limits because they want to be there. Well, okay, fair enough. Now we know what your real desire and agenda is, and now we won't vote for you. You've been exposed.
Why didn't you know that before?
Because some of these people are really good at it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like they're stupid people. They're not stupid people.
Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell have been in Congress and the Senate forever. You're telling me that people didn't realize that until 2016 when Trump got elected?
Yeah. I liked Mitch McConnell up until 2020. I'll never vote for him again. I'll never encourage anyone to vote for him again. I was on board with him all the way up. Dude, I'm telling you, it's a lot of people are waking up to a lot of the politicians we didn't know. We just didn't know. We were
But
just as asleep as everyone else.
you're saying that people are waking up and you're using Mitch McConnell as an example, even though was after Trump lost the election, the Republican Party made Mitch McConnell the House Minority Leader again. After 4 years of Trump, they still promoted the guy to the top of the Senate. So who are these people that you're saying that are waking up?
The voters. Mitch McConnell won because of the 2020 election because the Trump voters were out. And it wasn't until he started saying that, no, there was nothing fishy. You guys are crazy, blah, blah, blah. After that is when we were like, oh shit, we messed up. We never should have reelected him. And I bet you everything, if he were to run again, I don't know if he's going to try, but if he ever were, he would never win again, ever. I bet he don't run again because he won't win.
But here's what I'm confused about. You're suggesting that the Republicans have woken up to these people, yet you won't even impeach someone like George Santos, who made up his entire resume. I don't see the waking up you're talking about.
In that case, that I would leave that to the state that he's involved in. Like, I didn't pay attention to that.
I don't even see a significant movement from the voters in your party to get rid of George Santos. You guys have more problems with Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the squad, and all of these folks. But you got a guy in your party that made up his entire resume, including suggesting his mom was in 9/11 when the buildings were struck. A very patriotic point. And I don't see hardly any outcry in your own party to get rid of this guy. I don't see the waking up you're talking about.
I mean, that I don't disagree with you that that's sad. Like, that's definitely something that's stupid. I don't disagree with you at all. Like, that's dumb. But I mean, where I vote and stuff, I have no control over that. I wouldn't vote for the guy. I'd be like, that's dumb. He shouldn't be there. But I can't personally, where I'm at, do anything about it, so I haven't concerned myself with it. And probably you'll find that's the case around the country with a lot of us. I mean, if you ask us all one-on-one, I think we'd all tell you that's stupid and the guy's a piece of trash. You know what I mean?
Don't hear it, though. I see more folks complaining about Bud Light than I do George Santos. Not only George, because you mentioned George Santos is not in your district. That's a legitimate claim. However, McCarthy is the Speaker of the House, and he would be responsible for also punishing George Santos. I don't hear the Republican Party going after him either. I don't see any outcry of any significance for this guy that lied about everything. But Bud Light is getting all the attention. I'm clueless. I'm clueless.
We got bigger fish to fry. That's all I can say about it. And the Bud Light thing, it's not about Bud Light. It's about the bigger conflict that we're under. We feel that this is a psychological war against all of us, even your side. We don't think that they're just coming after MAGA. We think that they got all of us arguing with each other so that we don't focus on the real enemy at hand.
Who is the real enemy at hand?
The people that run BlackRock, that own all the big banks, the 13 families. I said this before the last time that I called, I believe. But yeah, the richest of the rich, the ones that it's hard to pinpoint because they don't want to be known. Those people.
But why didn't Trump talk about these people?
He does. He calls them globalists. He refers to.
I want names. I don't want some general term. That's like, if I'm the bad guy, I don't want to hear you complaining about black people. I want you to point out the handsome liberal. Who are the people? Give me some names other than George Soros.
The Astor family, the Kennedys, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Collins. There's 13 of them. I don't know how many I just named, and I don't want to double repeat them and everything. But yeah, those ones. And if you go to the CIA's website, there's a PDF called Bloodlines of the Illuminati, and it'll explain everything about each family and where they actually descend from.
Well, it's hard to when you say people don't go after. It's hard because, like I said, even the president who was supposed to drain the swamp and get us back on par, he didn't make a big fuss about that. I heard him making more fuss about us robbing Walgreens in Chicago than I heard about these 13 families. I heard him making more fuss about it. Colin Kaepernick taking a knee on a football field than I heard about these 13 families.
Well,
So it's that's why you're not getting what you're suggesting we should be focused on.
because you've got before we can ever even consider tackling these 13 families, we have to unite as a people. So we have to get over these stupid conflicts. So in Trump's mind, he might not go about it the best way. Everybody says that about him, but he thinks that it's pretty easy to understand. And for his followers like me, it is easy to understand, but not everybody has the same perspective or the same mindset or outlook. We're all different. And so not everybody's going to see it the way he sees it, and he doesn't understand that. But
But think about what you said. You said we need to unite and stop focusing on these other little small issues and go after the bigger picture, which is these 13 families. In terms of the country uniting, do you think Trump is trying to unite the country?
I think that's where he'd like to take it. Yeah. I mean, I do.
Do you think he's acting in a manner that would be unifying for this country?
I think he's acting in a manner of somebody who's being attacked, who's angry about it. That's what I think he's acting like.
Okay, so he's pissed off and he's not unifying us. Then he's angry
Well,
for what happened.
He's not directly attacking anybody as far as all of us, we the people. He hasn't done anything to us. The people he attacks are bad guys or people that work for those people.
Okay, so when he was suggesting Barack Obama was born in Kenya, do you think Obama should have got angry?
I think he probably should have got mad at Hillary. Yeah, I do.
But what about when Trump was saying it?
Well, why would he get mad at Trump? I mean, Hillary's the one that paid for that and had it put out there.
Yeah, but Hillary started the birther movement. You
Yep.
notice no other politician took it up but Trump. Why is that?
I don't know. Why not? It's out there, right? Nobody
Yeah,
got
but
mad at Hillary.
so
So why'd they get mad at him?
so if there is a movement out there that says Melania is a hoe, you're saying somebody should just take it up because it's out there.
Yeah, I don't think why would that, if I was with Melania and someone called her a hoe and I'm Trump, why do I give two flying shits? Like literally.
But because it's your wife and you don't want your wife, people making up lies about your wife, that's why you would give two shits
Yeah, but
about it.
she's not a hoe. They're an idiot.
And he's
liar.
not Kenyan. And he is not Kenyan.
So, all right, then he don't even need to defend it, does he?
Well, then, if that's the case, if your argument is that if that doesn't apply to you, you shouldn't get mad and you don't need to defend it, then why is Trump getting mad? If he's saying people are accusing him of stuff that's false, according to you, it should just be sweat off his back.
Because they want to put him in prison and take away his lifetime of work. That's quite different.
Because, right, saying that Barack Obama was born in Kenya was going to take away his presidency and ruin his legacy.
But would he go to prison?
He would lose the presidency. That's worse than enough. That you've become president and somebody makes up a lie that disqualifies you from office. You're saying he should just ignore that.
Right, because it's not even a lie. So they do the research, they find out it's not true, and he's still president. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean, dude? Like, why acknowledge some bullshit, you know?
So what you're saying is Trump should acknowledge bullshit against him, but Obama should not acknowledge bullshit against him.
No, not unless he was going to prison over it. I mean, if he's going to prison over it, hell yeah, you defend yourself. But I mean, if
Trump is not, when people call Trump a racist, he's not going to prison over that. He still gets mad about it.
Now, Trump's also not me. He's got quite the ego on him, and I can't explain
now
that.
We're getting somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
It took a moment, but I appreciate it. Listen, I got to move it on, Brandon. You're always welcome back. Good conversation, man.
All right,
Come on
brother.
back
Have a good one.
You too. All right, looking in the look.
And that's why they call him a cult, because they don't believe Trump does no wrong, says LS 1886. Sometimes you gotta finagle with the callers. You gotta work with them sometimes. I think we all can all get around to agreeing on some things, but sometimes it takes a little longer for some than others. Who they? All witnesses were MAGA. Trump's attorneys, advisors, aides, and employees. Yeah, I will say this. Trump himself is making it look like the quote-unquote Biden crime family is weaponizing the DOJ and the FBI and things like that to go against them. But Trump is being disingenuous in that. In reality, there are Republicans all over the damn place going after Trump. In fact, Brett Baer, during his interview, you may see it on my channel because I posted it, named all of the people that have been part of Trump's administration that are saying he should never be president again, writing tell-all books, and even a few of them like Nikki Haley and Mike Pence are actually running against him. None of those people are liberals. There are dozens of conservatives, many of them appointed by Trump himself, that are going after him. So when Trump suggests it's Biden and the liberals coming after him, that's not true. There's a host of conservatives and Trump appointees coming after Trump. Looking in the comments here. Yep, I seen that. Yeah, Teddy Chaos. Yeah, I mean, Brett Baer went down a laundry list of people that Trump appointed or worked with or hired and then criticized and made it sound like they were dumber than a bag of rocks. Which leads to the obvious question, then why did you hire him? Which is what Brett Baer asked him. Why did you hire all of these people? You said you're going to surround yourself with the best and brightest, and now you're constantly calling people that you hired idiots and stupid. Why did you hire them? Going to the box. That interview was a disaster for Trump. Mike Loud. Yeah, I don't know, even though I lean left, I don't know how you convince someone that their mouth is not an asset. Could be a left winger or a right winger. I don't know who can get to Trump and tell him the words coming out of your mouth are hurting you. They are really hurting you. I don't think there is anyone out there, which is why I will always speak out against anyone suggesting that presidents are puppets. Trump is not a puppet. Ain't nobody gonna be controlling the strings making that man do that shit. No one that cares about the growth, cares about the successes of President Trump. No one that wants Trump to succeed would tell him to do the shit he's doing. No one. Looking in the box. We'll keep it moving. Let's laugh together. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Let's Laugh Together. Hopefully you got some funny shit for that name. Good afternoon. So what do you think? Hunter Biden, sweetheart deal? Let's laugh. Are you there? Okay, I think my caller is on the phone. We'll keep it going. Rhinos, neocons, and neoliberal globalists versus Trump. Here's the problem. If Trump is the greatest path for America going forward, he's going to make America great, get us away from a lot of the bullshit. He needs to be able to recognize the people you're talking about. Rhinos, neocons, neoliberals, and globalists. Because what he is doing is he is appointing those people to positions of power and then complaining about how they're acting. You don't bring a cobra into your house and then complain about people dying from venom poison. If you know this person is bad, you don't give them the position. If you don't know how to tell the difference, then we don't give you the position. That's where we get the cult claims from, is you can't make up excuses for somebody that's giving you the worst as your leadership in this country. You love Trump, but you're ignoring all of these awful appointees. Fancy prancy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that heart. Thank you very much for that. But at the end of the day, yeah, Generation X with the hat and mustache. I'm not hating at all. Thank you. In regards to the commander-in-chief, as I've said before, this is not a business, even though Trump was very good at running businesses. We're talking about a republic where you need cooperation from the House, Senate, governors, military personnel. You need cooperation to make your agenda happen. You can't just do shit or appoint bad people and not be responsible for the people you are appointing. And that's where the cult claims come in, is that folks love Trump, but they don't hold him accountable for all these bad appointees. Well, he was a new politician, or he didn't know no better, or the swamp is really big. No, you're making mistakes. You're making mistakes. If you appoint somebody and they do damage to the country, how do you get absolved of any responsibility for that? If you think that this person is a neocon or that person is a globalist and they didn't get their job without the approval of Trump, how does he not become responsible for that? And that's where we have an issue, is that folks are not giving Trump credit for what they believe are terrible appointees. Going back to the box, we'll go to Blunt 1969. Smoke one for your boy. All right, Blunt, good afternoon. Trump ran 2 casinos into the ground. Who does that? I don't know, but I still believe Trump was a good businessman. I don't think any business guy that has as much eyes in the fire as Trump does not get an occasional bankruptcy or a failed business. But overall, he was successful. He was successful. Trump has several businesses. Each one of those would have made somebody rich for the rest of their lives. The Apprentice to some degree was a business. It was a TV show. That alone would be enough to make somebody rich. Having a hit TV show on air for years during prime time, that alone would make you a multimillionaire. He got a lot of businesses out there. A couple casinos, a university, a couple things failed, but he got a lot of businesses out there. Golf courses that charge a premium, hotels and shit. He's a successful businessman. If he's anything, he's that. Looking in the comments. No, he wasn't. It was his father's money. Lamar, that's not true. That's not true. It was his father's investment. When someone receives an investment, there's 2 ways it can go. The investment can fail, or the investment can succeed. Whatever Trump's father gave him, there is no denying he made a hellified success off of that. His father didn't give him $1 billion. Trump is wealthier than his father was. So even though he got a one-up from his dad, no denying that, he didn't blow the money. He turned it into a significant profit. You don't have to like the man to be truthful about what happened. Whatever he got from his father, he made it into a hell of a lot of money. He made the brand bigger. His name, up until he became president, he was the shit. So, you don't have to like him to admit that. The host sounds like a cult member. All the criticism I've been doing to Trump over the year in Mary Happy Pants suggested I sound like a cult member. Seriously? Okay, fair enough. You must be a new listener. People just hating because they broke, says Lil Bub. Could be some of that. Give me $1 billion and I'll make it rain, says Funky Cole Modena. His dad didn't give him $1 billion. His dad didn't even give him anywhere near. His dad didn't even give him $250 million. I believe his father gave him a few million. Now, with a few $1,000,000, that's a hell of a start. No denying that. He got a one-up. He got a start that virtually none of us could get access to. But the point is, he increased the value of what he received many times over. That's fact. That's fact. I don't take that from him, even though I don't agree with most of his policies. But that's fact. He did that. How do you know how much his dad gave him? You don't know that. But when you look at Trump, there's no way to deny that what he was 30 years ago, he's wealthier than that now. He's wealthier than that now. But no, you're right. You don't know what he gave him. $1 million, I heard. Handsome as being fair and balanced. Fancy prancy, I heard $1 million too. But let's assume he gave him $10 million. Trump is worth oodles more than $10 million now. Whatever his dad gave him, he is worth considerably more than that, many times over. Whatever his dad gave him, he flipped it and made a lot of money off of it. You don't have to like the man to be honest. Seriously, you don't have to like the guy to be honest. 485 million, 1 million of no, 1 million laugh out loud, no, 400 million. I don't believe his dad gave him $400 million. I don't believe that. I think you would have heard about that long before Trump ran for president, that he got a $400 million head start from his dad. I think you would have heard about that. Why does he need to ask supporters for their money? Labradorite, because he can. Because, in my opinion, yeah, you shouldn't be contributing money to somebody who is wealthy going through legal issues. I think you're finding some folks and you're catching them slipping. If they're dumb enough to give you their hard-earned money, so be it. But no, I don't, especially with the legal issues that Trump is dealing with. I heard that the RNC is going to make him start funding his own legal issues. No, I don't think they should be helping him out with that. I'd be curious to know where Hunter Biden's legal money is coming from, but I don't think he's taking it from Democrat donors, is he? He's a scammer, says Disney Nut Mama 4. That's a hell of a name. What his dad loaned versus what he inherited are two different amounts. Yeah, but Trump was doing very well, period. Once his dad gave him whatever he gave, Trump was flipping money and making a hell of a lot of money. You guys are making it sound like Trump's dad gave him some money, and that's all he has. He didn't do anything good with it. He's only living off of what his dad gave him. He didn't profit at all. If his dad didn't give him any damn thing, he'd be in a gutter somewhere. I don't see that. Trump was a huge draw, even for folks who do not like Trump now. Talking about rappers, talking about, civil rights leaders. None of us on the African American side like Trump. We loved him before he ran for president. That shit's worth money. That shit is worth money. That guy was making money on his own right. His dad ain't responsible for him being on The Apprentice. That show is worth millions of dollars. So I don't think you guys are giving him credit. Financially, I'm not talking about him as president. I'm talking about financially. Trump cheated his builders and drove several out of news, gave him $413 million. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. I don't want to get into a huge conversation about his dad, whatever the case may be. You guys believe even this failure, it is what it is. Niner Man, 319.
Better yet, got me talking about Hunter Biden, actually. Do you believe Hunter Biden got a sweetheart deal?
Yes, sir, I do. And that kind of makes me upset with myself for having more faith in the legal system when people on here have been telling me it's been shitty for years.
Do you have any black friends around you? If you had faith in the legal system, might I suggest you get a few black friends? We've been saying that shit since the 50s.
Yeah, I know.
So,
This is just so out in the open right now. I mean, Wesley Snipes went to jail for tax evasion, and Hunter Biden had an illegal firearm and tax evasion, and he's getting a diversion. So that means that's how dangerous that is. Now anybody that buys a illegal firearm and does something with it can say, "Oh, I was a drug addict years ago. Don't prosecute me for this illegal weapon." And get a diversion. The lawyers have been talking on TV about it, and they said this hardly ever happens for firearm charges. The taxes people.
the attorneys I've heard them saying people very rarely get charged with what Hunter Biden got charged with for firearms as a standalone crime. Now, if he went out and, shot up a bunch of people or threatened his ex-wife or something with the gun, then the fact that he obtained the gun illegally is typically thrown in there. But in this case, he has no other criminal acts with a firearm other than how he obtained it. I'm hearing that very few people ever get charged with this.
A lot of people don't get caught if they don't do anything. That's one of the reasons a lot of people aren't charged. But just think of how serious it is. I agree on gun control. So what happens if you let people say, "Oh, I didn't do this," and there's no. One of the biggest things for gun control is background checks and being honest on them.
Do you really think? Yeah. Do you think people? In my opinion, most people probably are not. I mean, I would assume there's a hell of a lot of folks who have had chemical dependencies that own firearms. I mean, think about anybody who served in the military that has PTSD. They're probably on some type of chemical where they need to continue taking that antidepressant or anxiety med to prevent from flipping out, and they got guns. I
Yeah,
think
well,
there's a lot of people with chemical dependencies that got firearms.
prescriptions and crack is two different things, though. I mean, you got to give somebody with prescriptions and crack a little bit of a, you
If
know.
you have a chemical dependency, it doesn't matter if the doctor's writing the prescription or the dude across the street is giving you the drugs. You need drugs to feel right.
uh, Yeah, but one's a legal prescription that might actually help somebody. One is an illegal narcotic.
The whole opioid crisis was developed by doctors. Legal prescriptions you're talking about. The only reason we have an opioid crisis in America is from doctors writing legal prescriptions.
Oh, I agree with you on that. That's
Yeah.
100% greedy
So,
companies. But
yeah.
is it right if
No,
I ask you one question,
sure,
sir, that's not about Hunter Biden?
sure.
Because I see your videos. I'm a follower of yours. And as you know, I'm a white guy, so I don't know. Like, I love Tim Scott and his interview on The View when he talks about hope for America and how much it's changed and everything else. But then you watch the news and everybody says that's not true. You have to be an exceptional black person to make it in this country. You can't this and that. And they shit on the community that they're a part of. And I don't understand why Tim Scott is getting so much hate.
Well, listen, when you are African American and you side with the conservatives, it would be very it would be pretty much the same way as if somebody sided with Nancy Pelosi and tried to be on Trump's side. They just see you as tainted. I mean, the conservative side of the aisle, I believe there's a lot of conservative principles that would resonate with the African American community. However, there is shit like we don't like the Confederate flag or Black Lives Matter being called a terrorist group or folks suggesting that white privilege doesn't exist. There's a lot of things on the Republican side of the aisle that just does not resonate with the African American community. So even though Tim Scott did a fabulous job on The View with Sonny Hostin and those folks, did a really good job debating them, as an African American being a Republican, you're going to deal with those hurdles. The community's not going to welcome you.
I just think it's not fair. The guy was great, and he's allowed to have different views. It's like I got white friends that are Democrats, I got white friends that are Republican, socialist. It doesn't matter. You're allowed to have a different viewpoint. I just think it's unfair where he has a different viewpoint and he gets brutalized for
Yeah,
it.
but is that something unique to Republicans and African Americans? Do you think Trump tolerates a different viewpoint within his ranks?
No, that's why I really hope, I would love to see Trump go to jail. I'm so tired of his shit. So
You
tired of
want
looking
Trump
at
to go to
him.
jail? What do you think Trump has done that is worthy of being incarcerated?
Well, I mean, you know, he lied about the documents. He should have gave them back. I mean, if it was political, Mike Pence should be charged, but he's not.
Yeah.
He gave them
But
back.
okay, so you do see a difference in Biden having documents in his possession and Mike Pence versus Trump.
Yeah, one person acted like an idiot, and when he got caught, one person didn't. They told.
So so I have to ask because our conversation led me in a different direction. Did you support Trump any of his runs?
Yeah, the first two, and then he went batshit crazy with January 6th and putting baseball bats behind the prosecutor and saying he can have documents next to his shitter and that's okay. The guy was batshit.
So you did vote for Trump in 16 and 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you believe he should be incarcerated. Wow, I haven't had many callers like you that actually supported him for both of his campaigns, and now believe he should be incarcerated. You definitely are different. I haven't had. I don't. I think you're the first person I've ever talked to that was MAGA both times, and now believes he should be incarcerated.
I just think it would set an example for people that uh, like to break the law, knowingly break the law, and then brag about it on TV. Got to give whether Joe Biden broke the law or not. At least he was smart enough not to admit it on fucking national television because his ego's so big, they think nobody will prosecute him for it. Oh yeah, I had the doc.
So I have to ask
I didn't give
you
him back.
the
They were my
million
documents.
dollar
I had right to
question.
classify them.
Yeah, I gotta ask you the $1 million question. Mike Loud in the comments basically brought this up because this is something you hear a lot of folks who have been critical of Trump. They're asked this question. Even though you believe Trump should be incarcerated, if for some reason he is not incarcerated, elevates to the top of the Republican ticket and it comes down to Trump versus Biden in 2024, who would you vote for?
I'd probably try to find a third party candidate just so I could do my right to vote and not vote for either of them. But I would like to say, if he was a normal person, I think he should be incarcerated. But technically, all his cult members, if he is incarcerated, will probably riot and burn shit down. So if he is guilty, I hope he gets guilty, can't run again, and he gets a pardon and is sent off to some island or somewhere like fucking Napoleon, so we don't have to see him anymore.
And you are a two-time Trump voter. I have never heard this from somebody who voted for Trump twice. Wow, Niner man.
I'm a
I
vet.
would not have
I'm a vet.
expected this.
I'm a veteran. I put my country over politicians. He had a chance to get everybody's vote again, and he acted like an idiot.
Wow. Wow.
I'm going to be honest. My
I
favorite
have
Republican
never.
out there right now is Tim Scott. He's the only one talking about good things about the country. DeSantis just
You know,
found a hill to die on with
what
the
about Chris
LGBT.
Christie? What about Chris Christie?
No, because you can't be a super Trump supporter and then say how horrible he is and then be fit for. I mean, if you're.
But isn't that what you're doing? You supported him, and now you're saying he's unfit.
Yeah, but the thing is, he didn't. I was saying it right after January 6th. I didn't see Chris Christie out there complaining about him then because it wasn't politically expedient for him. Now it is because
Wait a minute. Let me clear it up. He was. I've been following Christie. I followed him on George. You know, he was on This Week with George Stephanopoulos for quite a while, debating Rahm Emanuel, and lately he's been debating Donna Brazile before his campaign. He
Well, then
was
I was
out
wrong.
there.
Then
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
he
out
should
there
run.
saying that.
It's just all these Republicans out there that only don't like him now that he got convicted of whatever you can say on TikTok in a civil court.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden he's, I don't know. I voted for the man twice. I liked a lot of what he did, but after he lost, he showed his true colors, and I hate what he did, where he could have lost with class, came back with Biden's approval rating the way it is, and have a serious shot at winning. I don't think Trump can win.
But let's say, for instance, for shits and giggles, he was able to win in 2024. What do you think America would be like if he got in office again? You think we'd get the economy back on par and end
I
the
think he would do.
Russian-Ukrainian war?
It's kind of. I think he would do a lot of good politically, but he's also vindictive, and I think there'd be a lot of shit done under the table in the back rooms to get back at anybody that said anything negative about him, and that's not the type of government we really want to have.
Yeah,
He's not gonna,
it sounds like you're almost saying he's a swamp creature.
now he is. I mean, everybody else that lost with dignity. They might have complained a little bit, but they didn't act like somebody, as I told you before, that had their video games taken away or their ice cream or whatever. He bitched and moaned and lost in his own Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say, for argument's sake, everything he said is true. He lost in his Supreme Court. When is the good of the United States the good over the candidate?
You're talking similar to what Al Gore did. Al Gore believed he won, but he said exactly what you're saying is, for the good of the country, we decided to let it go. Al Gore said exactly what you just said.
I mean, the guy's not like he needs a job to put food on the table. He's not going to be on food stamps because he didn't get elected. So, I mean, it's not like he had to create the division. You know, now this isn't me. I think Biden is corrupt in different ways, but you can't even talk about that because Trump is such a fucking shit show that that's all you talk about. Can you imagine any time in our history that you had a allegation of a bribe by a president, and the president before him was so much fucking worse when it came to everything that they're not even talking about the current one?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going.
Air.
You're right, and that's exactly what's happening. Is that it looks like Biden may have taken bribes, but Trump is literally dominating issues with, like you said, there's so much orbiting around Trump that Biden may skate. You're right about that.
I mean, never in our history would we seen something like this. I mean, they would already been made for TV movies and everything else. But he keeps having so much shit around him. I don't get it.
Do you think he's going to be convicted of any of this shit you're talking about?
No. Too powerful, too much money.
Mm. Well, E. Jean Carroll seemed to have done pretty good. She got
Well, that was
$5 million,
civil.
and she's going to get a little bit more.
He didn't take it serious because of his ego again. He didn't even show up. He didn't really even put on a defense.
Well, shit, he might make that mistake in some of these other cases.
No, if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you get what you deserve, I guess.
I mean, because you gotta think he's criticizing judges and their families and shit. Anyone would know that you don't criticize the family of a judge that's overseeing your case. So I don't know if he's learned.
Well, he's not too bright, but I'm just wish people could get back in the middle again, like you. I love your videos.
Thank you.
You put it out
Appreciate that.
there, especially the one with that professor about slavery and stuff like that, and the anti-Trump. You're someone in the middle. I'm in the middle. We should create our own damn party. These people on the ultra sides there.
You talking about the radical left and right. All right, Niner man. Very, very good talk. I got to move it on, but damn, you brought your A game today, man. Appreciate it. All right.
Keep it moving. It don't look like Biden took anything. There is no evidence. Let me tell you why. Mike Lau says just hate and speculation. In regards to Hunter Biden, no engineering degree or background, yet he's making $50,000 or $60,000 a month from an energy company that Biden is a liaison with in the Ukraine. Why? I mean, even if Hunter Biden is allegedly 100% innocent, how the hell does that happen? How is your son getting $50,000, $60,000 per month with no energy background? That is worthy of asking a question. We can talk about Trump all damn day, but that is worthy of asking a question for. So, no, I don't think that the Biden side of the aisle is 100% innocent. And listen, you're talking about presidents, vice presidents, the idea that, hell, if my mom was president or my dad was president, I would be trying to find a way to use their name to get paid. That don't mean it's legal. That don't mean it should be forgiven. But, yeah, I definitely think that if he's willing to lie on a gun application, what else is he not willing to do? I believe that. And not only that, but there's a good chance his dad, talking about the president, knew he had a firearm while knowing he has an addiction problem. You don't have to like or hate these guys to be willing to judge them fairly. The Bidens are not innocent. They're not innocent. Now they're in control, so you're not going to get to the bottom of all of this shit. Just like when Trump was in control, Attorney General Barr quickly wrapped up his impeachment and wouldn't even tell us what Mueller put in the documents. Biden is doing the same thing to some degree. Now, I don't think that Biden is committing as many acts as maybe President Trump did, but he's not totally innocent. He's not totally innocent. We just talking about on the liberal side of the aisle. We don't want Trump back in, so we're willing to overlook some shit that Biden may be involved in. But he's involved in some shit. I don't believe he's 100% innocent. I just don't. Looking in the comments, with that thinking, no one is innocent. Yeah, right. That's the point I'm making. Like I said, if my parent was president, governor, senator, and I could find a way to use their money to get some type of job through narcissism that I didn't deserve, I would do it too. And I believe that is what happened in the Biden case. But we have to ask the question, why the hell would an energy company pay Hunter Biden with no energy background $50,000 a month? They don't just do that out of the kindness of their heart. They got something for that. And Hunter Biden was not in position to give it to them. That is worthy of asking that. If you just pretend like that shouldn't be asked, then you're biased in favor of the liberal side of the aisle. It's a worthy question. Just like Nine Lee is pointing out about Jared Kushner, $2 billion investment company from the Saudis, while being Trump's investor or Trump's advisor. That's not legitimate. That's not a legitimate deal. Fancy Prancy. Thank you. Fancy Prancy. Always show your boys some love. We different sides of the aisle, but I always appreciate that. But yeah, Jared Kushner is another perfect example. A $2 billion investment deal from the Saudis after being the advisor to President Trump, Once again, he doesn't have that experience to warrant that either. In fact, I believe Jared Kushner was not even qualifying for a FBI clearance. And Trump used his prowess to get him the clearance anyway. The FBI was refusing to even give him a security clearance. So it ain't just the Bidens is coming from. But the point I'm trying to make is what we're accusing Hunter Biden of. Folks are doing this shit all over the place. Ivanka Trump. Yeah! Jack with the hat and mustache. Thank you. Ivanka Trump. 20 plus Chinese patents. Got him faster than any other American could get that shit because her dad was president. Just want to point that out to my beloved MAGA. If you go after Hunter Biden for some of the shit that's on his laptop, it could open a Pandora's box. You notice that Ivanka is starting to slowly separate herself from her dad because she knows her dad is getting involved in shit and going after people that she probably has done too. And it's like, you keep pushing this, you're going to get me in trouble. So just want to bring that up. We'll keep it moving. Ivanka is a Freemason. Well, there's some privileges that certainly come with that. The Korean War and every war after that was unnecessary. Many would argue that. Every war after World War II was unnecessary. And I brought that up too. When folks say that they're over fighting for our freedom and the veterans and things like that, I do believe since World War II, all of our military involvement for the most part was to limit the freedoms of others. We're talking about, Korea, Vietnam, Panama. You're talking about Iraq, Afghanistan, all of that shit. We weren't in danger of losing our freedom to any of those entities. I think the Vietnam War was allegedly to stop the spread of communism. There was no danger of communism coming to America in the 70s. So, yeah, I definitely believe that we were doing this stuff to limit the freedoms of others. Looking in the box here, we'll go to Let's Laugh Together. Let's try to make it work this time. Good. Let's laugh together. We had a problem the first time. Let's try it again. Hopefully he's there. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right. We're talking about Hunter Biden. Did he get off easy?
Um, I don't think he got off easy. He just had a good lawyer. If he got money, you can get yeah, that can happen to you.
So you don't think it had nothing to do with his dad? You just think having wealth allows you to get decent counsel, and virtually
I
anybody with
mean,
wealth would have got off with this too.
his dad does did do something. He carries the name, so it helps out a little bit. But he got well, their family have wealth, so he can afford great lawyers. His dad can advise him, hey, go to this lawyer. He can get you out of it.
I tend to have the opposite opinion in regards to his name. I think his name is the reason he got charged in the first place.
Definitely,
Because
definitely.
yeah, this investigation started under the Trump administration with a Trump appointee. I think if Hunter Biden, if his last name had been Zuckerberg or Gates or so, I don't think they would have went after him like this. I
Yeah,
think
it's a simple charge where they shouldn't have taken it this far, but they wanted to attack a Biden, and he was the weakest
yeah,
link, and him
yeah.
with his drug use and his history, he was able to get attacked easily. So
Yeah, I mean, he did commit some crimes, just like with President Trump. Folks say they're politicizing the DOJ and stuff like that, and I do agree in the same case in Trump. I believe Trump is being charged with some things that he may have gotten away with, but it is based on real crimes. Just like with Hunter Biden, his name is what's getting him charged, but it is based on real crimes he committed.
yes, sir, yes,
Yeah.
sir. But I think the thing about Trump is Trump. He knows that he was president and he can get away with a lot, and he's gotten bold with it. It's like he could have really gotten away. It's simple. Biden and Pence had the papers. Everybody turned everything in. Trump, I think, because you know that he got a mega behind him and he got bold and he know that he can get off easily. So he's incriminating himself. And Trump, I don't see him going to prison. But it's like now you're doing interviews and you're telling on yourself. You're being bold, and it's like you can't do that. They're gonna get you eventually.
Do you think he will end up being our next president?
That's hard. I, I I'm a independent voter, so I don't want to see Biden. I think
Let me
Biden
ask you
done a
this:
great job.
as an independent voter, did
Yes,
you
sir.
vote for Trump in 16 or 20?
No, sir. No, sir.
Neither one.
I think Trump was too radical. I didn't vote for Hillary. I didn't vote for Hillary or Trump. I'm not a Hillary fan. I'm not a Clinton fan at all. And I thought Trump was just not the right man. I feel like Trump is a business. He's a great businessman. He does what it is. But even though you can consider America as a business, but you cannot run it like that, especially knowing that you failed a couple of times running a business.
But when you say you believe Trump is too radical, give me an example of something that you think coming from Trump, maybe a policy he wants or legislation he's proposed to be radical.
I can get out of the presidency and take papers home and think it's okay and leave it in the toilet in the bathroom.
Okay, fair enough. So you so you do believe he definitely created crimes and he committed crimes in those document cases.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's you. You can't do that. Who wants to take? There's certain things they know that you can't take home once you get fired. If you get fired from a business, they sometimes they make you say, "Hey, you got to leave a name tag. You got to leave
Yeah,
your.
yeah.
You can't take
You know, in
everything."
other words, he walking around the crib with his ID on after getting fired, with his
Yeah.
job ID on.
You get fired from Amazon and you're still walking around with an Amazon uniform. Like, no,
Yeah,
you can't wear that. You can't have that.
sitting on the couch eating cereal in a robe with your job ID pinned on it. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like, and he knows he did it, and he knows he doesn't. It's like I don't know. I want to say like he's going through a mental problem, maybe his old age, where he doesn't know. I don't know. It's just it's like you see. It's like seeing somebody's granddad going through it, and he's starting to lose his
But
mind.
wait
They're
a
like,
minute, I'm being told that Biden is the one with the mental health issues,
oh yeah,
has dementia, doesn't know
Biden is
where
not
he's
there
at.
all the way either. I'm not no Biden supporter. Biden is Biden. I don't see him doing another 2 years. I'm not a fan of Kamala, and I know if Biden has a good chance of winning, and if he does win, I don't see him finishing the 4 years. God forbid, and that means if Kamala's there and she's going to take over, that's America right there.
So you
That
don't. So apparently you're not a big fan of either the highest prospect on the right or the left, being Trump or Biden. Who do you see as a good person to lead this country going forward? Who, if you could have the candidate of your choice, who would it be?
ah. Right now it's crazy. The most person, the one person that makes sense on the Republican side, I can say Mitt Romney.
Wow,
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy that I'm saying that in
wow.
2023. But yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple, but I don't know. It's like everybody's riding Trump's wave. I can even say Liz Cheney.
So you
She'll be a good.
actually, and let me know if you think I'm getting this wrong, but in my opinion, listening to you speak, I think you're not necessarily an independent. You are a traditional conservative, but you guys have been kicked out
I,
of your party, so
no,
you're now independent. That's what you sound like, a
I
traditional
voted for
conservative.
Obama. I voted for Obama in 2008. I didn't want to vote for
Okay.
him again the second term because I felt like he started leaning way towards the left and was just trying to make one group of people happy. I'm gonna vote for anybody. I feel like I'm one of those people that I feel like having parties ruin the country. One of
Yeah,
the
but
presidents said it.
you're saying you're talking moderate, talking about
You should
supporting.
vote for what's best for the country. You shouldn't vote for a
Yeah,
party
but
just
but but
because.
hear me out. You're saying that you went Obama the first time in '08, but he
Yes,
moved
sir.
too far to the left. But then you're talking about the support of Liz Cheney while thinking that Trump is too far to the right.
Because
Liz
I feel
Cheney
like
voted
Liz
with
Cheney's the
Trump.
only one that stood up to the party and stood up against Trump. Nobody,
No,
no, none of
but
those
in reality, she did not until January 6th.
until
She
January
voted with
6th.
Trump.
Yes, sir.
She voted with Trump 95% of the
Yes, sir.
time. She didn't
And I'm
stand up
not
to
gonna
him.
say Trump did anything. He came in and ruined the country. Trump really rode off of Obama's wave. He didn't he left everything a lot of things where how Obama had it, and that's what had the country going good until COVID happened. So Trump knew what to do as far as keeping the country balanced, and he did some other things that people may not like, but he kept the country rolling before COVID.
But when you say he wrote off Obama's waiver, are you suggesting that the country was in good standing when Trump took office because he
Yes,
was
sir.
riding on Obama's wave?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's interesting you would say that because you admitted that you didn't even vote for Obama the second
But no,
term.
I
So,
didn't vote for Obama the second time. As far as a person running, being a president and running the economy, he did a great job. But as far as his social things, like I grew up in a house where I had mom and dad. I didn't. I'm a millennial. I didn't. Now you got to accept everybody, and it's like I'm not judging, but I know what I grew up to, and I felt like Obama his second term was, we got to get these people their right, equal rights, and he forgot about basically everybody else.
what you're saying, it is consistent because you started out our conversation by talking about you favorite Mitt Romney, and that is who Obama ran against in
Yes,
his
sir.
second term. So
Oh,
you
I'm not
you
saying I favor Mitt Romney. I feel like Mitt Romney is just one of those Republicans that looks reasonable right now. He's not
oh,
basically kissing ass
yeah,
to Trump.
yeah. All right, fair enough. I got to move it on. Let's left. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you holding on. We had an issue the first time, but yeah, come on
Oh, no
back
problem. I
anytime,
love
man.
your show. I love your show, by the way. I'm always watching. Keep on doing the great job, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you on. All
Thank you.
right, looking in the comments.
Uh, RFK or Vivek, Richard Daniels, the only people that support RFK over Biden are people that would never vote for RFK. For the most part, the people that want RFK to become presidential contender, they're Trump supporters because they feel confident, and so do I, by the way, that Trump would easily take RFK to task, would beat the shit out of him. Those are the people that support RFK. I mean, RFK is talking about the vaccine and things like. He don't even sound like a liberal. If you were to write what RFK supports on paper and tell the audience reading it, a politically savvy audience, we're not going to tell you who wrote this shit or what party they represent. We're going to just write down what this person stands for and what they support, and I want you to determine what party they represent. Nobody would think that that guy was even a Democrat. So RFK does not have a chance. Listen to the stuff he's talking about. It's all conspiracy. He sounds like QAnon. RFK has no chance at all. None at all. Looking in the comments, exactly, he doesn't sound like a liberal because he isn't right. So why run as one? Why run as you think the squad or somebody like that is going to go out and campaign for RFK? Why even run as one? You're wasting everybody's time. And God forbid who's ever donating money to that campaign. You might as well just get that shit up to Wounded Warriors or somebody. Biden got huge amounts of bipartisan bills done. Yeah. He picked a side. What side is that? Yes, SG says he sounds like his wife isn't even going to vote for him. Yeah, his whole family has made it clear they support Biden. So, yeah, that's not a traditional Kennedy. He's not going to get the love of Kennedy. He's not going to get the legacy of Kennedy. The only thing that's helping him out is the fact that he is a Kennedy. If he was Joe Smith, nobody would even be giving that dude interviews. The fact that he's a Kennedy is the only thing going for him. No chance. I mean, with emphasis on no chance. He sounds like, yeah, boy, yeah, the voice is interesting. He does have, yeah, the voice is, I don't know how a State of the Union address would sound with that guy talking like that. Okay, but no one thought Trump was a Republican until he came down the escalator. Trump is not a Republican, Richard Daniels. Trump is to the Republican Party what Bernie Sanders is to the Democratic Party. Both of these individuals ran for their respective parties because you need access to the money that is in the RNC, Republican National Convention, and the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. So Bernie Sanders needed to get access to that money that you need to run for office, so he ran as a Democrat. Trump needed access to the Republican money, so he ran as a Republican. But if you notice, both Bernie Sanders and Trump continually have problems from the traditional Democrats and traditional Republicans in the party because they're screaming out loud, you're not one of us. Do you realize how much damage Bernie Sanders has done to the Democratic Party by throwing around the socialist word? Now every damn Democrat out there is being called a socialist, when none of them were claiming that before Bernie Sanders came along. Trump is doing the same thing to traditional Republicans. These folks were doing fine before Trump came along. Now all of a sudden they're rhinos, they're neoliberals, and all kinds of other bullshit. That's why neither one of these parties want Bernie Sanders or Trump running it, because they're not traditional Republicans or Democrats. Neither one of them are, but good comment. Trump wanted an oligarchy, a principality for his family. Wow. And there's a hell of a lot of MAGA that were down with that. Hell of a lot of MAGA that were fine with Trump doing his 8 years, followed by Don Jr., followed by another Trump family member or appointee. So when you say Trump wanted an oligarchy, his supporters wanted it too. Sanders would be fabulous. Yeah, but he's not a Democrat. Call it what you want. If you enjoy Sanders like MAGA enjoys Trump, that's fine. But these people are not members of their party. That's why all traditional Republicans are now being called names by MAGA. It's because Trump has essentially transformed that party into the MAGA party. It's not Republican Party anymore. And Bernie Sanders is well on his way to doing that to the Democratic Party. That's why they don't like those folks. DeSantis will win the GOP nomination, says JJ. I don't know about that. I do believe DeSantis would give the Republican Party all of the policies they want, that very similar to President Trump. However, as I just pointed out, Trump has transformed the Republican Party into the MAGA party. So it doesn't matter what DeSantis do or what he is promising. If he does not get the appointment of Trump, if he does not get Trump suggesting that he is the guy, that alone may be enough to kill him. And he is not getting it right now. So I don't know if DeSantis is going to win. Even if Trump gets caught up in legal shit and things like that, he can still speak. And even if he's in a jail cell making rap albums, January 6th choir, even if he's in jail and he can speak and he says DeSantis is a traitor, that might be all that is needed to prevent DeSantis from running. So until he gets the approval of Trump, I wouldn't agree with that. DeSantis is too far gone to win the nomination, says Tramika Reels. That's what I'm talking about. Too far gone because Trump pushed him away. DeSantis hasn't changed. When DeSantis did as well as he did in the midterms, he was a Republican hero. He hasn't changed from any of that shit. The only thing changed is Trump said he sucks. And that was enough to change him and kill his opponent. Which is why I'm saying nothing is guaranteed for DeSantis without Trump's approval. DeSantis will get Jeb Bush during primary watch. I don't think so. Once again, you need Trump's approval. And Jeb Bush ain't going to get Trump's approval either. I'm telling you, until something changes, Trump is by far the most powerful thing in the galaxy for the Republican Party. Without his approval, you ain't going nowhere. It's hard to do well without his approval. I understand in the midterm some of his candidates lost. I get it. But without Trump's approval, you got a hell of a challenge on your hands. And DeSantis is not going to get it. He's just not going to get it. DeSantis is Democratic-controlled opposition. He's their fear-mongering for the late 2020s. That's what I'm talking about right there, says Flight of the Navigator. DeSantis is Democratic-controlled opposition. He's their fear-mongerer for the late 2020s. Think about that statement. And think about how well DeSantis did in the midterms. All of a sudden now, because he's at a fight with Trump, he is the Democratic-controlled opposition. He's their fearmonger. They loved DeSantis just last year. And now all of a sudden, because Trump has odds with him, he is a Democratic-controlled fearmonger. Without Trump's approval, DeSantis is in trouble. Jack Smith has got these Trumpers losing their damn mind. Jack Smith is causing some rift. If you hate people and are a POS, vote. If you hate people and are a piece of shit, vote red. That's a bit cruel. You think all Republicans hate people? Damn. Damn, that's harsh. You guys are crazy. DeSantis has a bad record in Florida. Really? I don't think so. I think if DeSantis were to run, if Trump were to come out, let's say DeSantis, I'm going to get out of the presidential race and support Trump. DeSantis would be a shoo-in for governor again in Florida. Even with all the Disney antics, he would be a shoo-in. It's Trump's disapproval that's hurting DeSantis more than anything else that's going on. You talk about Disney and all that, it's Trump's disapproval that is hurting him more than anything else. If Trump started speaking favorably of DeSantis, his numbers would turn around overnight. So that's how much power Trump has. All of that other shit is background noise. It's Trump that's hurting DeSantis. All Republicans are not racist, but all racists are Republican. That's not true. There are plenty of liberal racists out there. That's not true. Because you can hate more than just black people. You can hate whites. You can hate Hispanics. All racists are not Republican. That's not true. Some independents out there too. There's some liberals. There are racists in every party. Democrats are racist, says Becky Johnson. And see, that's what I'm talking about. Now, the notion that all Democrats are racist is crazy. It's just way too much diversity in the Democratic Party for that to make any sense. What racist party is going to have transgender members on the administration? Waving rainbow flags at the damn White House and shit like that. And you got Muslims over here. You got, African Americans. That makes no sense. That makes no sense that the Democratic Party is racist. It looks like the damn rainbow. Up to and including them flying the damn rainbow. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sure the racists are voting Republican. Once again, it depends on what group of people you're racist against when you say that racists are voting Republican. Listen, there are certain words in this country that instantly make you think of a group. They're stereotypical words. If I say terrorists, first thing comes to mind is Middle Eastern people. Illegal immigrants, first thing comes to mind is somebody that is Hispanic. Now, a Chinese person could be a terrorist. An immigrant could be a terrorist. But these words are designed to make you think of one group of people. As I said, immigrants, Hispanic. Thugs, black people. Racists, white people. But anybody could fit these groups. So when you say most racists vote this, no, anybody could be. You got Asian racists out there. I mean, but the way our system has been set up, we've created words that really are dog whistles to hate on a certain group of people. I mean, when you say that group is a bunch of racists, you're not thinking that group is anything but white people. That's just the way it is. Thugs are out there at midnight breaking in cars. You don't expect to go out there and see Becky and her friends, do you? No, you know who you thinking of when you hear that shit. Just words that we come up with. Anyhow, folks, said we all are a little racist. Yeah, we are. And if you live in America, and I'm talking black, white, no matter what background you are, if you live in America and you obtained an education in America, as one lady once said, and you are not racist, you were not paying attention. Our system is designed to make you that way. It is so much designed to make you that way that it was so successful that black people even hate them damn selves. I mean, so yeah, if you grew up, you're